Well, Shabbat shalom, everybody. Hey, it's good to see you guys with us for today and our at Life of Worship at our Torah portion. And see a bunch of people already been in there chatting around and talking, and it's good to see you. We got Burl and Luann and Linda and Alan Irene. Yay, cool, very cool. And Eddie and Tammy are in there. Looks like Nancy. That's very cool.
Nancy, we love you.
And okay, well, so it's a good day. I hope it's a good day. It's a spectacular day for you, wherever you're at, as we are all across the more than just the fruited plains, from coast to coast, from the north continent to the southern continent, however you want to look at it. Anyway, kind of weird. All right, so this week's Torah portion is Devarim, and I hope you're ready to dig in it with us as we pull it out. Devarim, or words. Words is how you could say it. That's it's that Torah portion where it is the final. Can you believe the final book of the Torah? We're actually getting that close to the end of the cycle, and so we've had an amazing journey. I think this year we've been looking at a lot of different things, a lot of different perspectives. Every year is a little bit different, and as we and I hate to say cycle it, because a lot of people think, oh, recycle. I don't want to recycle anything. I want it to be fresh to everybody. So I pray that today will be a fresh look at the Torah portion. And there's so much to be revealed. It's never enough time to do it. So Deuteronomy, it begins with chapter 1, and it runs through chapter 3, verse 22. And if you're following along, you'll know that that is not a complete chapter 3. We'll have to pick that up next time around. So, all right. So in the Torah portion, let's begin with prayer. Pastor Sandi, would you like to open us in prayer, please?
Father, we come before you and we praise you and we exalt your holy name. We thank you for the gathering of our family, Father, that from near and far. And we pray that you pour out your spirit upon them, that as we walk this out today and throughout the weeks, Father, this week. And Father, you are the need meter and the miracle worker and the way maker. So you meet every need in Father. Every miracle that's needed, you manifest your glory in their bodies, in their homes, in their situations. And Father, we thank you for that, because we look to you. We, as was said earlier in chat, we don't look to horses and chariots. We don't look to man. We look to you. So we praise you and exalt you that you are the answer, that you have the answer, that you have manifested those things within our lives, and that you work all things together for good for your glory. So, Father, this day we give ourselves at the altar. We burn for you at the altar. We say, here we are. We want to worship you. We want to praise you. We want to learn and eat at your table. But Father, let it all be a sweet incense to you as we gather together with one voice and one heart to exalt you, to learn about you, and to just be part of your kingdom. We give this time to you and we thank you in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. So this it's Deuteronomy in the English versions of the Bible, and Devarim in the Hebrew, and it's kind of interesting because Deuteronomy, it's coming out of the Greek. Not to mention just the fact that I think a lot of times, like, well, that just kind of diminishes the value of the name of the book, but it's actually I think it's kind of thought out when they named it Deuteronomy. And one of the reasons is because of the Greek word deutero. I mean, this is kind of like an FYI off the, but did you know that's where we get the word ditto from deutero? Ditto. What do you say when you say ditto? Oh, I like what you say, ditto. Or you say something in writing and you say ditto to that, and it's like, okay, I'm repeating what you say without having to write the whole thing out. I'm repeating what you say without having to say the whole thing out. But on the by shortening and saying ditto. But on the other side, here we have Moses addressing the people of Israel, and he's addressing this. And so Deuteronomy is talking like the repetition of the law, the repetition of the Torah. Um, not so you think about all the other Torah, and we have a lot of Moses getting direct downloads to Yahweh, and then he's been telling people this is how it's going to go, this is how we're going to work it out, this is how it's going to be, and yet here now Moses is going and he's recalling, re-saying, reiterating everything that he spoke to the first generation. He said, we're getting ready to enter into the land. Now I'm going to re-speak it a second time as a repetition for that word to get in you, because everything about your success in entering the land hangs in the balance of how you handle it. Because, by the way, I'm not going to be there. That's what Moses is saying. I'm not going to be around. And so we've got to understand here in the setting, these words are very impactful. The very fact that Moses is about to die, because when they cross over, they are now camped on the other side of the Yarden, the Jordan River. They are ready to cross over. And when they cross over, that's when the manna stops. It's important for them now to go in and conquer, because they're going to have to be able to go and provide food for how many million that are in this huge nation of people that are going to cross over. And then they got to meet their first enemy in Jericho and complete that battle. They have to have these words in them to live them. And did you ever think about this? Oh, are these words important, or is it just for the past generation? Oh, it's just for the Jews. Oh, it's just for them. No, we can't think that way, because we need these words to be in us. Why? Because we need these words so that we can make that crossing ourselves. We talk about Hebrew being Ivrim, to cross over. And we say, well, we've crossed over, but there is another crossing, and that is to get into the land. And we're not there yet, but we've got these words that are powerful words. They're words of life. And these are the words that, of course, many of you have heard me talk about this in the past. The final words of a person are often the most important, the most significant. Everything that's being said everything's being boiled down to, these are the things that have been impactful in my life. I want to pass it on to you. And so this is where we get this intro, and we talk about Devarim and where we're coming from. And so from there, let's do some reading. And I'd like to go ahead and read in that. Let's just go ahead and start with chapter 1, verse 1. And would you mind reading? Do you have it?
These are the words Moshe spoke to all of Israel on the far side of the Yarden River, in the desert, in the Arava, across from Suf, between Paran, Tophel, Lavan, Hatzerot, and Dizabab. It's 11 days' journey from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by way of Mount Seir. On the first day of the 11th month of the 40th year, Moshe spoke to the people of Israel, reviewing everything Yehovah had ordered him to tell them. This was after he had defeated Sichon, king of the Amorite, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth at Edrei, there beyond the Yarden in the land of Moab. Moshe took it upon himself to expound this Torah and said, Yehovah spoke to us on the Horeb. He said, you have lived long enough by this mountain. Turn, get moving, and go to the hill country of the Amorite and all the places near there in the Arava, the hill country, the Shephelah, and the Negev, and by the seashore, the land of the Canaani and the Lavan, as far as the great river, the Euphrates River. I have set the land before you. Go in and take possession of the land Yehovah swore to give you to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, and their descendants after them. At that time, I told you, you are too heavy of a burden for me to carry alone. Yehovah, your Elohim, has multiplied your numbers so that there are many of you today as there are the stars in the sky. May Yehovah, the Elohim of your ancestors, increase you yet 1,000-fold and bless you as he has promised you. But you are burdensome, bothersome, and quarrelsome. How can I bear it by myself alone? Pick for yourselves, each of you, your tribesmen who are wise, understanding, and knowledgeable, and I will make them heads over you. You answered me, What you have said would be a good thing for us to do. So I took the heads of your tribes, men wise and knowledgeable, and made them heads over you, leaders in charge of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, of tens, and officers, tribe by tribe. At that time, I commissioned your judges. Hear the cases that arise between your brothers, and judge fairly between a man and his brother and the foreigner who is with him. You are not to show favoritism when judging, but give equal attention to the small and to the great. No matter how a person presents himself, don't be afraid of him, because the decision is yours. The case that is too hard for you, bring to me, and I will hear it. I also give you orders at that time concerning all the things you were to do. So we left Horeb and went through all that vast and fearsome desert which you saw on the way to the hill country of the Amorite, as Jehovah your Elohim has ordered us. And we have arrived at Kadesh Barnea. There I said to you, you have come to the hill country of the Amorite, and Jehovah our Elohim is giving to us. Look, Jehovah your Elohim has placed you and placed the land before you. Go up, take possession as Jehovah the Elohim of your ancestors told you. Don't be afraid and don't be dismayed. You approached me, every one of you, and said, let's send men ahead of us to explore the country for us and bring back word concerning what route we should use in going up, and what the cities what we will encounter are like. The idea seemed good to me, so I took 12 of your men, one from each tribe, and they set out, went up to the hills, came to the Eshcol Valley, and reconnoitered it. They took some of the produce in the land and brought it down to us. They also brought back word to us, the land Jehovah your Elohim is giving you is to us is good, but you would not go up. Instead, you rebelled against the order of Jehovah your Elohim, and in your tents you complained. It's because Jehovah hated us that he has brought us out of the land of Egypt, only to hand us over to the Emori to destroy us. What sort of place is it that we're heading for? Our brothers made our courage fail when they said, the people are bigger and taller than we are. The cities are great and fortified up to the sky. And finally, we have seen the Anakim there. I answered you, don't be fearful, don't be afraid of them. Jehovah, your Elohim, who is going ahead of you, will fight on your behalf, just as he accomplished all those things for you in Egypt before your eyes. And likewise in the desert, Jehovah, your Elohim, who is going ahead of you, will fight on your behalf, just as he accomplished all those things for you in Egypt before your eyes. And likewise in the desert, where you saw Jehovah, your Elohim, carried you like a man carries his child along the entire way you traveled until you arrived at this place. Yet in this matter, you don't trust Jehovah your Elohim, even though he went ahead of you, seeking out places for you to pitch your tents and showing you which way to go, by fire at night and by cloud during the day. Jehovah heard you were saying, and he became angry and swore, not a single one of these people, this whole generation, will see the good land I swore to give to your ancestors, except Caleb, the son of Yefunah. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land he walked on, because he has fully followed Jehovah. Also, because of you, Jehovah was angry with me and said, you too will not go in there. Yehoshua, the son of Nun, your assistant, he will go in there. So encourage him, because he will enable Israel to take possession of it. Moreover, your little ones, who you said would be taken as booty, and your children, who don't yet know good from bad, they will go in there, and I will give it to them, and they will have possession of it. But as for yourselves, turn around and head into the desert by the road to the Sea of Suf. Then you answered me, we have sinned against you, Jehovah. Now we will go up and fight in accordance with everything Jehovah our God our Elohim has ordered us, and every man among you put on his arms, considering an easy matter to go up to the hill country. But Jehovah said to me, tell them, don't go up and don't fight, because I'm not there with you. And if you do, your enemies will defeat you. So I told you, but you wouldn't listen. Instead, you rebelled against Jehovah's order, took matters into your own hands, and went up to the hill country, where the Emori living in the hill country came out against you like bees, defeated you in Seir, and chased you back all the way to Hormah. You turned and cried before Jehovah, but Jehovah neither listened to what you said nor paid you any attention. This is why you had to stay in Kadesh as long as you did.
That first chapter is just loaded, and uh, and there's a lot of details I'd like to get into, but I wanted to highlight a couple different things, and just because a lot of times when as we're living our everyday mundane lives, Does anybody have a mundane life? Does everybody have an everyday life?
Sometimes.
Or is every day just an adventure that we're all going in and enjoying together? But I thought this was very interesting because of the application that it really, really means. Because a lot of times we can read through this and then miss something that I think maybe the Father is just emphasizing it to me today. But even after reading this and how many times I've read through this, and then to come back around, I was like, wow, a word stuck out to me. And this is in chapter 1, verse 33. And of course, we have Yahweh or Moses. Moses is speaking, and he's speaking to the second generation, and yet he's giving them this. This he said, "You chose to do this. You chose to be unwilling. You chose to complain. You chose to." Did you realize that he's telling them, and these were the children. This is the children of the ones that actually were the rebellious ones that were in, and now the rebellious ones are all dead. And then he says, but you did this. Well, what does that mean to you? I mean, when you hear that, when he's saying you did this, but it's not them.
You have a choice.
It's the very fact that they're carrying the weight of the disobedience of their parents and the generations before them. Does that not bear witness to us is that we even today bear the same responsibility to our history? Does that make sense? Do we I mean, how does our history, why do we bear the responsibility for our history when we had nothing to do with it?
If we don't, who will?
And I know in the woke world they'll say, yeah, you're responsible for slavery and you're responsible for all this. No, I'm not talking about that. But it's almost like there's this thing that you're responsible for because it was in your parents, but you're carrying it. And you think, Pastor Sandy and I have been involved in deliverance ministry, and one of the aspects of deliverance ministry is that the generational curses that have to be broken.
Iniquities.
Right. Yeah. Tammy put in here already. She's already on top of it. She said the sin of the fathers are passed on to the children under the third generation. And so,
but it really repeats itself because we commit the same sins because of it. So it just goes on and on forever.
So the fact that being human, we see history repeating itself. History repeats itself because behaviors repeat themselves because we're still battling the flesh, right? Are we all perfectly spiritual now? Have we been elevated to our spiritual place? And because we have the Jesus peace, the Yeshua peace, everything is made perfect and we're all good. And so that's why this book is only for, a certain group of people and not for us because we have Yeshua. We have Jesus. And honestly, this is a mindset of people.
Yes.
And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but but it's something to point out is that what are they carrying? Because what are we carrying? And yeah, I agree, Linda. I want my glorified body. I want to get out of this fleshly body and these battles that we constantly have. And Paul says he's talking about over in Romans chapter 7, and then goes in to Romans chapter 8, verse 1. But there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Yeshua the Messiah, for the life of the Spirit. Let's look at that.
That's true, but you still have to fight the battle.
Right. But we're not doing it on our own.
But we know what is ahead. We know what the glory is. I don't know that's when we choose to battle a battle we chose out of our own disobedience. What did he just say in the word? I'm not going to go with you on that one. So when we're battling his battles, he's there. But when we've made a mess of things and he warns us, don't do that. And then we go into battle armored up on our own. He's not there.
The sad thing is that don't we How many times do we recycle those issues and he's not there? But he's there to pull us out of it. He's like, we may be going through through a process, a protocol. Honestly, there is that protocol that's there. Romans 8:1, for the law, verse, there's therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Messiah Yeshua. For the law, the Torah of the Spirit of life in Messiah Yeshua has set you free from the Torah of sin and of death. For what the Torah could not do, weak as it was through the flesh, Yah did, sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and as an offering for sin, he condemned sin in the flesh. What's that saying? I mean, it's basically saying, but wait a minute, the word isn't flawed. It's not saying that the Torah is flawed, but it's through Yeshua that he imparts his spirit into us, because that which was given to us as a word and a guide and instructions to us, the spirit comes through that relationship with Yeshua, the spirit of the living God coming to live within us, to fill us and to empower us, so that the word, the Devarim, those words can become living within us. You have to have the two. The two have to go together, and that's what he's saying. We've been set free from the law of sin and death. In other words, we've been set free. Not the Torah is not the law of sin and death. It's that when we when we're not empowered, we die. So we have to have a life.
There's hope in him, and we don't succumb to the enemy. We do not stay down. We get back up because our hope is in him.
Exactly. And here we have, so in verse 33, it says, let's go to verse 32, chapter 1, verse 32 of Deuteronomy, Devarim. But for all this, you did not trust Yahweh your Elohim. So it's talking about the second generation, but it was the first generation. Okay, so we have to say, well, so he's speaking to me. And verse 33, who goes, Yahweh your Elohim, who goes before you on your way to seek out a place for you to encamp, in fire by night and cloud by day, to show you the way in which you should go. Now, do we ever apply that? The very fact that I don't think when Moses is recalling this and he's saying, look, this is what's going on, and this, own up to the mistakes, because we don't want to repeat these mistakes. And yet he says the people didn't ask him to go before them. It's just Yahweh your Elohim who goes before you on your way to seek out a place for you to encamp in fire by night and cloud by day, to show you the way in which you should go. Do you ever really think about the significance of Yahweh going before you today? And that you did, yeah. I mean, you might be the person who crawls out of bed, your eyes wake up and say, Father, go before me today. That you will seek out a place for me to encamp in fire by night and cloud by day, to show me the way I should go today. Or do you roll out of bed and say, oh, Father, help me? But the fact that he's already up, that not that he ever sleeps, and that he is prepared from when you walk out the door of your house, to prepare a path, to say, this is the way, walk therein. Why? Because I've already been there. I saw the obstacles, I saw the challenges, I saw the people that you're going to be dealing with, I saw the cars that were on the road, I saw all these different things, and I want you to go this way because I already see everything that's gone, and I want you to keep you safe today. Now you can not listen and walk in the path that says, I'm not saying that when you're driving down the road, that because you are walking in direct rebellion and disobedience, and then that's why you had a car accident, that's why you had a conflict, that's why that thing wasn't on the shelf when you went to buy it at the store. That's very simplistic thinking, but you think, what how many times when he goes before us and we're just walking with him, that there's shalom. It's not that we shouldn't always have that where we think it's shalom, because sometimes we need to have obstacles, sometimes we need to have challenges, because we need our faith to grow and we need it to be strong. But think about this, even that he may go before us because there's not going to be water, so to speak. I mean, they didn't have water. How many times he says in this recounting and wanderings in the wilderness, going in chapter 2 and chapter 3, that there's places of no water, places where they had grumbling, complaining because they're thirsty, because you can't carry water.
Heart condition.
You can't carry water. Do you think about that? We're supposed to be a fountain of living waters coming up out of our belly, and yet we can't. In the natural, we can't carry water. There's only a limited amount of water, and we drink it, it disappears. How in the world are we supposed to be filled with the Holy Spirit without being filled, as it says in the book of Ephesians? Paul tells us, reminds us to be filled with the Spirit, but in the grammar it says being filled. It's a constant filling, refilling to the overflow. And we can't do that in our own strength.
Right.
We are in a process of deliverance, and I think that's what this process in the wilderness recalling is. You as a people are in a process of deliverance, and yet you can live in the state of your past or break it.
Right, and get out of the past. Wants us in the future, because that's where he's at.
Yeah, Luann said, wash our minds with the water of the word.
Yeah.
Well, he says he will wash us with the water of the word, but we have to take the step. We have to get in it.
Yeah.
And as we're in the word, he begins to wash us and cleanse us, and things look different, and we act different, and we feel different.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's changed? In us. Trusting in him.
And that ebbs and flows in the average person, because it's like, oh, I've done this before, I can handle it. How many times do we say that? We're in a mindset of the mundane, the mindset of, I don't know how many times during the day I may be in the mindset of the mundane, and yet I step back and say, oh, Father, help me. Oh, Father, help me. I need wisdom. I need to go fast. I need to work through this, whatever it is. And I'm like, I just need help. I mean, how many times do you say that? Do you just ever under that little, the prayer's like, okay, Father, help me. I got to put one foot in front of the other today. I got to make one more step, one more project, one more event, one more whatever. I got it, but I need your help. We
should do each day like that. Ask him, help me with this day. That's what I try to do.
This day, this task. I need gumption. I need energy.
Come on.
I need a refreshing. Yeah. I need living waters to come flowing out of me, because I can't carry it. I got to have a supernatural downpouring, outpouring, infilling, refilling, and overflowing. That's the way I need my day to be. I need this step, the next 10 minutes to be, let's be honest here.
Yes.
Unless one is just completely isolated and is in a monastery and in solitary worship and can do that all by yourself. I don't even know how one would function that way, because I have to have interaction with people. Sometimes the interaction with people needs just to be a little bit, but sometimes they need a lot of interaction with people. But okay. But Yahweh, who goes before you to seek out a place for you to encamp. Well, what is that word, encamp? Can someone look that up for me real quick? I need to know that word encamp. I think it has something about having to be in a dwelling place, and I'm going to pull it up in my search engine. If I lose you, it's just because.
That could mean anything.
Hannah,
Huh.
2583.
2583. Could give me a definition.
Well, the first usage is Genesis 26:17, which is going to set it, which says from there encamped in the valley or pitched his tent, but it means in basically
Set up.
camping and camp, dwell, remain, broach and pitch your tent. But that's just a Strong's definition. We can break it down and get a lot more serious with it.
Set
In
in.
fact, let me see if I.
But it's also very interesting because when it says to seek out, the Hebrew word for that is tour. Actually, that's where we get the word
We don't
tour.
need to go over that one.
We've talked about that. Makom, a place. Hamakom. Okay, remember that we've gone into a lot of study in the Torah portion about Hamakom. Hamakom, just for a quick refresher, the place. It's the place where Jacob laid his head. It's the place that Yahweh would set his tabernacle, be his presence. Mount Sinai is often called Hamakom. It's where Abraham looked, and the place where Isaac was offered up, Hamakom. So he's going to seek out Hamakom for you, Hannah. And what do we got so far? What are you digging up for me?
I've got Hannah, to decline and can't bend down, and it's related to the term hen, which is, we all know what hen is. It's grace and favor. And if you break the root down of that, you have your fence, your wall, your protection, your separation, and then your seed, the noon, the picture of the seed and the posterity, and it has the sense of continuing or the sense of your lineage because it's the seed. So it seems to be conveyed that there's a wall of protection that surrounds and separates the seed within it in order to allow it to grow, continue, and reproduce. And then we can go, there's a lot more, but
that's
camp. Think about it. If he's in camp, so let's read that verse with the Hannah in it.
Who goes before you on your way to seek out a place, Hamakom, for you to encamp.
Okay, so we have Hamakom there, but let's go to encamp. So he's surrounding his seed. He's surrounding his lineage. Yah is surrounding us with his protection. As we camp, he's surrounded us and protecting the generations even to come. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say, John?
Yes.
Or Pastor John, sorry.
Yeah, that's I think like circling the wagons. Why would they do that? For protection,
Yeah.
right? And then all the life is within the middle of that ring of the wagons, and because that also gives the whole idea of a fire by night and a cloud by day.
It also gives us the idea of what a shepherd does.
Yeah.
What does the shepherd do?
Protects.
We talk about that place, Basra, the place which speaks of the place where the shepherd would be able to have a natural encampment, where the sheep would go in. And where's Yeshua come from? Out of Basra. And he would set up that hedge, a hedge of thorns, to protect the sheep. And then the shepherd lays down in the opening, in the doorway. He is the door, the gateway that he brings the sheep through and then protects so nothing else can come through. So in fire by night and cloud by day. And I can't help but to think about the passageway when Israel came down to the Red Sea. It came through that narrow place, and then Yahweh set up a wall, a hedge, the cloud, where the Egyptian army could not pass through that wall. And why? Because the sheep had been brought in, and the shepherd lays down in between them and the enemy. I think that's another way to look at it. What else do you have, Sandy? Pastor Sandy?
I thought we were done with that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
Well, just like David killed the lion. I mean, he was ready. He was the protection. He was the one that was going to take care of those sheep. Yeshua is the same way. He will kill something if something comes for his children. He's our warrior. He's Yeshua HaMashiach. He's our warrior. He's protection. So along the same lines.
So here's Psalm 27:3 says, though a host encamp against me, my heart will not fear. Though war rise against me, in spite of this, I shall be confident. Psalm 34:7, the angel of Yahweh encamps around those who fear him and rescues them. I like that. So, Isaiah 29:3, I will camp against you, encircling you, and I will set siege works against you, and I will raise up battle towers against you. So,
wasn't that David that killed the lion?
David did kill a lion and a bear.
I'm thinking I had that wrong. Okay, sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah. And Zechariah 9:8, I will camp around my house because of an army, because of him who passes by and returns, and no oppressor will pass over them anymore.
Right.
For now I have seen with my eyes. And I think that's I think it's something that it reminds me of Henry Groover and Steve Quayle in an interview with Doug Hagman earlier this week. Maybe it was last week. No, it was earlier this week, and he played a little clip from Henry Groover talking about America and talking about this. And Steve Quayle was just simply, boiling it down too. I mean, if this guy can boil it down to like, let's have a sobering moment here. Let's really look at where we are in the timeline of stuff. And he says, look, America is about ready to come. I mean, everything is being escalated up to, we're talking DEFCON 1.
Yep.
I mean, that's on. If you've been paying attention this week, do you not realize with President Trump coming out and saying, I'm moving nuclear submarines into firing range of Russia, and an extraordinary level move, a move of escalation of World War III. And Russia says, look, ever since, I don't want to get into all the current events, but they said this is an exemption, not exemption, but this is an existential threat against our nation. We're talking about what was going on in Ukraine for the last 10 years, longer than that even, and it's an existential threat, and this is why they had to protect their borders. And we need to stop. We need to change. They've never changed that line. However, NATO has been changing the goalposts. They've been doing escalatory.
Why is Trump in bed with NATO?
It's a whole other thing. But I don't know if he's just trying to be the strong man to make them back down or whatever it is. But Russia is right, in my opinion. And so I'm in great disagreement with what's happening. But nevertheless, Henry Groover is talking about the enemies of America. We've talked about Dimitri Duduman before, but how, and even Book of Revelation, that Babylon is destroyed in 1 hour. And what Henry Groover said when he was in Wales, and he got this download, this vision from Yahweh about how America would be attacked. And it's like, this is back in the 80s when he got this vision. And that the attack would come, part of the attack would come from submarines off of our coast.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just talking a nuclear holocaust. But this is very, very interesting that there would be invading armies that would invade into America, and there would be the believers who would be encamped, and they would be in these tents. That sounds like Sukkot time. And the invading armies would come, and these people would be in a place of praise and worship and prayer, and the armies would split. They would go around. the camps, they would meet up on the other side as if they didn't even know they split in a rent around the camp, not even seeing the people, and the soldiers that are on either side of them didn't even realize that they had split and then came back together on the other side of the camp. That this is what Henry Gruver saw in terms of the protection of Yah's people. And he said, look, and I mean, the appeal in that program was you got to, and the appeal is specifically to the non-believers, but also to believers, is just not walking with Yahweh. Is that an oxymoronic statement? I don't know. But the fact is that we need to make sure that we're walking right with Yahweh, because he'll call us out of the cities, because certain cities will be attacked. Certain cities that they will be completely obliterated just to dust. That's why the merchants of the world will look at America and weep. Why? Because they don't have a place to sell their merchandise. Because we are the big place, that we are the big consumer culture of the world. And these armies are invading. But then he also said something else, that many of these nuclear attack, we're talking nuclear attacks. Well, they're not conventional, but nuclear annihilation coming out. And he said Yahweh is going to do something that is going to destroy much of the incoming, and that is that we're seeing, like, the threat of the volcanism, the ring of fire coming alive. We saw an 8.8 earthquake in the Pacific Ocean, tidal waves this week, awakening, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, many along the western seaboard of volcanoes opening up. And he said that this is Henry Gruver's message. He said, I saw these volcanoes awakening and exploding, putting ash into the air at the time of the incoming, that actually destroys the engines of jet and missile that are coming in. It destroys them, and that they're not able to release their payload. And I'm like, that's amazing. So when there's threat, and yet how Yahweh even still preserves. Why? Because he's not preserving cities like Portland and Seattle and Chicago and New York, and or Las Vegas, or whatever you might say, to where there's been complete abominations. Los Angeles, he won't preserve the perversity that's been going on in our nation. These cities will come under judgment. The call of the people not to be stuck in these cities is to come out of her. And yet we see the preservation of people in camps through this vision. I mean, 40 years ago, did anybody understand that? Did anybody understand what it meant to be preserved in camps?
No.
And here we have this idea brought to us in this Torah portion. But for all this, you did not trust Yahweh your Elohim, who goes before you on your way to seek out a place for you to encamp, in fire by night and cloud by day. But Zechariah 9:8, but I will encamp around my house because of an army, because of him who passes by and returns, and no oppressor will pass over them anymore. For now I have seen with my eyes.
But that goes right along with what you're saying. There's a fence of protection. Well, his seed, his children, his lineage is there. It goes right along.
Yeah. Amazing. Just
do you have a link to that group? Beryl is wanting a link. Do we have a link to that teaching?
I
You want me to work on that?
Well, go to stevequayle.com, and then there's a resource that you can click on for Henry Gruver's messages. And it should be, and I think those messages are preserved in the entirety. They only played a clip of it. And if you can go to the Hagman report on Rumble, that's where I was listening to the Hagman report on Rumble. And I think stevequayle.com had it in yesterday's posting for the conversation that he was having with Steve Quayle.
Gruver, Gruver.
Gruver.
And you've listened to the messages before. It's just when things happen, you re-listen.
Yeah, it was like, wow.
Try to sink in.
So I thought that was just really kind of amazing because it really connects to this verse. And Pastor Sandi, I appreciate you emphasizing Hana, which comes from um, henna, well, it's henna, and which comes from hen. It's the word for grace. Yeah, it's Noah spelled backwards. So
The name of our child, grandchild.
yeah, and then the other side of the emphasis is that we see in this verse, in verse 33, that I want to bring out. Let me go back to it. Oh yeah, to show you the way. The word is ra'ah. We've talked about ra'ah a lot, uh, which is it's two meanings: to give you a vision physically, like Moses went up on the mountain to see the land that he was not that he was not allowed to go into, but to see, to perceive, to have a vision of the land. In other words, the prophetic implications of everything that's about to take place. Um, to show you the way, Derek, and we've talked about Derek a lot. It's so this thing that he's talking about here is it is supernatural that he goes before us. It is supernatural that he encamps around us. It is supernatural that he's our fire. He's still our fire by day and our cloud by night. And it's supernatural vision that allows us to get where we need to go. What path? How do we take it? I mean, I think about us living here in Amarillo, Texas, and you think, little old Amarillo, Texas, is it one of those towns? Is it one of those cities that will be annihilated? And we're 15 miles from Pantex, where they build, nuclear missiles.
If they blew that up, wouldn't all of Amarillo go probably?
Well, Amarillo and the surrounding communities is where the employees come from. So if you don't have employees, you may not be able to destroy the factory itself because it's all underground. But if you take out the employees, you don't have anybody to work that fast. That takes us back to now. This is going to cause us to leap forward to another verse, and because we got to have supernatural vision. And if you tie that over to the verse over in Isaiah, which I don't have in front of me right now, but it says that that the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Hakodesh, will speak quietly in our ear, saying, "This is the way, walk therein." So you'll know. It's but are we listening? How are we tuned in? That the vision requires not just our ability to see, but our eyes are tied to our ears, right? Isn't that true? If you hear a sound, what do? You look. If something gets your attention, well, if it's not in your front vision range, your hearing is what causes you to look. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When the spirit of Yahweh is speaking into our ear, what are we going to do? Of course, that's a spiritual act. It's a it is a it's a process of reacting to what's being done in the spirit. And so therefore, then our eyes shift to what's happening. What do I see in the spirit? Is it something because do we, in other words, do we close off our physical eyes in order to see what we just heard? So that the material world does not distract us? I mean, isn't that what we have to do? Is that when the Spirit of the living God is speaking to us, all of a sudden we have to make sure that unless you're just so great at multitasking in the physical and in the natural and the spiritual, I mean, maybe you're great that way, multitasking in the natural and the spiritual. Or to me, I'm like, okay, something that Yahweh's speaking to me, he's getting my attention. I need to cut everything else off. I need to go into that special place. It might be momentarily. It might be just like, just uh, uh, a fraction of a second, because that's all it takes for a download from Yahweh to all of a sudden, I got it. I saw it because we heard it and we saw maybe a vision of it. We hear it, or we have a vision of it. There's this echoing between what we're seeing in the spirit and hearing in the spirit. Does that make sense? Does Jackie, what are you going to say?
Oh, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. All right.
But, the more you listen to him, if not in your prayer closet, I mean, ask him what's going on. Ask him if you're not getting it, say, Lord, I think you're trying to tell me something, but would you make it clearer? And he will do that. But the more you hone in on him, the more you're going to be able to discern that's him, because sometimes you go, okay, is that me? Is it the enemy talking to me? Or is that the Lord, And usually it's usually about victory or what you need to do in a situation. And he'll tell you. Do I hear him like I'm supposed to all the time? No. But like we're talking about, there's distractions that get in your way.
Yeah. Let's tie one other concept of something we studied on the past that brings in more clarity to what we're talking about. And that is that word before in verse 33. So who goes before you on your way? That word is panim. Panim. Now, what does panim mean? Face. So we have this idea that he's like, we're on a path and we're walking down this path, or we're still camped out, but he took off early to scout out our next camp place, our next encampment. He's scouting it out, or we're on a pathway and he's a little bit before us. But on the other side, panim gives us this idea of his countenance shining on us, his face upon us. We're talking about a positional relationship, that he's not turned his face from us, but we're walking in his favor.
And sometimes you have to be patient, because he may tell you something in your prayer closet, but it might not come to fruition for 2 or 3 days, a week, a month. But if you're earnestly seeking him and you're earnestly wanting an answer to something, he will tell you.
Yeah. And so in the everyday practical life, the mundane life, the place, the hamakom, the place that we want to have is that to be in his presence. And yet what's really, really cool about it, because we want his face to shine on us, right? We just want his face to turn towards us. There's something about living in that realm. But the fact is that because he's not limited to that place when we're in that secret place of the Most High, because he's also gone ahead of us.
He can be anywhere.
You just kind of think about this. We're talking not just 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, that he's existing. I mean, there's no, how many dimensions that are out there. I think the scientists have, it goes beyond our understanding. But the fact that he's also in our future, he's also on the path ahead of us, he's also shall we say, dealing with our past.
He's training us up, and he's revealing things from our past. So yeah, it could be, well, he's not in time, in my opinion. So he can be in the past, he can be in the middle, he can be in the future. Right. But he's always working in that. And
he's releasing us even from the things from our past, things that are in our, from the familial stuff from generations to generation. So this continuous process. It's like, I think of what do they call it? Punk, that type of art, punk engine, punk.
Oh,
steampunk. Is it steampunk?
Yeah, I think so.
Where you have these big old engines and all these huge cogs, smaller cogs, big cogs, they're going different directions, they're all working together, steampunking along. What was that movie where there was like these mobile cities? And
in the air, the even cities.
That's kind of a steampunk movie.
Yeah.
But there's all of these cogs that are within this engine that's just going, and he is actually in all of the dimensions in all of the cogs to make sure that everything is synchronized and working together. That frees us from the past. It's protecting us in our future and in our presence. And so, because he is our presence, that's the whole idea of panim, is in his presence.
Scripture says he's omni. That means he's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So before, it gives an idea of before and behind. This whole idea of panim, before and behind. And so you can think about it in terms of location, before and behind, because he's our rear guard. Yes. Right? He's gone before us and he's our rear guard. But we also think about before and behind in terms of timeline, future and past. It's an amazing thing. It's you sit and dwell upon it. It's like, wow, omnipresent is a good word for it. But I don't know, what is the word?
There's three.
All like
present, omniscient.
Yeah, omniscient.
But I'm
There's
thinking
another one too.
Past, present, and future. That type of omnipresence. Just
there's nothing that gets by him. There's nothing he misses. Okay, he is everything.
no. So when we have another concept that's brought out, because we talked about the garden, we've talked about the temple, the body, all of that in where these dimensions. Yeshua is the garden. He's the tabernacle. He is the body and dwells within us. And yet we are dwelling in a garden, the garden dwelling within us, this holy place, the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh within us. What is it that he may be dimensionally working within our very heart? Yes, he's working in the surroundings of the environments that we live in. And yet this whole idea of my house has many mansions. It has many rooms, and each one of us is a dwelling place of him residing and dwelling within us, and he's working on it. What's Yeshua doing? He's building a place for his bride, and yet but are we not a work in progress? Is he not expanding his kingdom within us as well as outside of us? This expansion of the kingdom that he's seeking out. So maybe when we first came to Yeshua and he came in through the door of our heart, and it's just like a one-room cabin. And now the remodeling process has been going on, and what he sees now within us is not this one room log cabin, but now it's palatial. It's got floors of marble and walls that are just covered in inlaid gold and stone and just beautiful. It's this work that he's not only just the idea of the seeking out a place, but for us to encamp. Yes. Think about this. Do you ever think about this garden place that he's developing within us that's palatial, that it is that he's been in a process of a wilderness of our soul, seeking out the right dimensions for his presence to dwell in, to be our shelter, to be our walls, to be that which encapsulates us, that encircles us, that's the fire by day and the cloud by night. Okay, just so now let's jump forward to another verse here in this same chapter, Deuteronomy chapter 1. And here it says in verse 39. Well, wait a minute, let's go to verse 32. Yahushua, the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall enter there. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Okay, so now he's presenting the leader, Yeshua, the son of Nun, who stands before you. He shall enter there. Encourage him, for he shall cause in Israel to inherit it. Okay, so that definitely ties in what we've just been talking about. How do we enter? He enters there. Psalm 110 talks about that. Prophetically
and humbly,
which is the Melchizedek chapter there in Psalms. But I want to read the last verse of that chapter. So if you want to go with me there to Psalm 110, and where it says, he shall drink from the brook. This is verse 7. He shall drink from the brook by the wayside, therefore he will lift up his head. I've had a message on this, a couple messages on it, and breaking that down, because that verse seems so out of place for the rest of this chapter of Psalm 110. And specifically is, what's he do? He goes down to the Yarden. He goes down to the river, the brook. He goes down, and that is on the way. And then he arises into his position. What's Joshua doing? What's he being called out to do? Who stands before you, he shall enter there. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. It's Yeshua's work at the Yarden, at the Jordan River, where we say, what work? Where he was immersed, where the Spirit of the living God was visibly upon him. It set him from that forth into this ministry in Israel. Why? To set into order, coming through the wilderness process, to set into order the kingdom. And the kingdom that he was setting in the order at that point in time was the kingdom of Yah is within you, or it is at hand. He wasn't talking about an earthly kingdom yet, but to establishing order by which my house has many mansions. My house is this palatial place. My house it is in you individually, but it is you as living stones, every one of us connected together. It establishes this kingdom in you, among you, and around you, and at hand. And they didn't get it at the time. I don't even know if we've completely understood that, because we're separated 2,000 years from when all that occurred. And yet this idea of the kingdom being established like this. So what's Joshua doing? He's going to lead them into the land to cause Israel to inherit it. In other words, the kingdom shall be established at the hand of Yahushua. So every one of us has to be involved in the process. Why do I say every one of us is involved in the process? Well, it goes back to verse 1 of chapter 1 of Deuteronomy. These are the words which Moshe spoke to all Israel across the Yarden, the Jordan, in the wilderness, in the Arava, opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, and Lavan, and Hatzeroth, and Dizahav. So these are all the words that are spoken to all. These are the words which spoke to all of Israel. The word is kalal. The root of the word kalal, all, is kol. Now, where have you heard the word kol before? Does anybody have an idea? Do you remember what that is? Talking about the entirety of the congregation. So this idea of the entirety of the congregation, Israel. It's not talking about the entirety of the congregation, Jacob, the entirety of the congregation of the tribes, specifically calling out and listing all the tribes together. He's saying, look, This is the entirety of all of you, all y'all, as they say in West Texas, all you. So Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before all y'all, he shall enter there, encourage him, for he shall cause all y'all, Israel, to inherit it. Every single thing is this process of he's going before you. He's sending out, he's reconnoitering.
Okay.
He's doing a reconnoiter. He's checking out the land, and then he's got, okay, here's the path I'm going to take you. We're going to go across the River Jordan. You're going to get circumcised. Then you're going to go first to Jericho. Then you're going to go to Ai. Yeah, we know what's going on there at Ai, but that's another process. He's going, but he's going before you. Why? To establish and cause.
Yeah, they go to many
places. And here's this next thing: he shall cause Israel to inherit it. What is he talking about? Cause Israel to inherit it. And that again, this is verse 38. So let's take a look at verse 38. Yes, in the English, when we talk about it, it's going to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's going to go down.
It's good. Yeah, it's going to go down. It's going to happen. That's how we see it on the surface. The word is nahal, and which is directly related to the word inherit. It means to inherit. So is he saying inherit? Are we seeing a double here? To cause, to inherit. Nahal, it is. Nahal. It's not, they're not together, but it does say in the Hebrew, Nahal Israel Nahal. Nahal Israel Nahal. Are we talking about a first and second coming? A first and second Joshua? A first and second inheritance? A first inhabiting of the land and then a second inhabiting of the land? He's talking about all of Israel. He's talking about Kol, Israel. He's talking about the entirety of the congregation of Israel that's in the wilderness. And yet, here's another thing about this word Israel, relating to the word Sarah, to prevail. So Israel, to prevail, and El, meaning he who prevails with Yahweh, or Yahweh prevails.
Hangs out.
Guess what? Yahweh prevails twice.
He's smart.
He prevails twice.
Yes.
He's causing them to bring them into an inheritance twice. That which inheritance they were not able to keep, he keeps his promise so that Israel can re-inherit their inheritance. So Yeshua has to do it twice. Yeshua had to come and establish a kingdom, and he's coming to establish a kingdom. He came to rule as a king, not as a physical king over Israel the first time, but he will rule over the world as king in the second coming. Okay. Moreover, verse 39, your little ones who said they would become a prey, and your sons who this day have no knowledge of good or evil shall enter there, and I will give it to them, and they shall possess it. Wait a minute. Yeshua shall cause Israel to inherit it, the whole. Now again, that causes us to step back and say, look, this modern state of Israel is only 1/12 and some stragglers, some foreigners, 1/12 of all of the community. the land is being occupied, and those people don't want us in. So the time is coming that the fulfillment of this is to be seen. All right. All right. Let's look at this. Let's break this down. Moreover, so for he will cause Israel to inherit. Moreover, your little ones who you said would become a prey, and your sons. Remember, when did Israel say that our sons would become a prey? At Kadesh Barnea, right? The spies came back. So those are giants in the land, and how are we going to be able to take it? And maybe we should go back to Egypt. Maybe we shouldn't allow y'all to fulfill his promises to us. And because even our sons will become a prey, and that just wipes out the second generation. That means we have no hope. Woe is me, no hope. And what's something in despair?
Gloom, despair.
Yeah. All right. From Hee Haw. Okay. I didn't watch Hee Haw.
I did.
Daddy did, so we did.
I did a little bit.
Hee Haw. Okay. I only know little clips of it because that's all I ever could stand.
My parents did, so I watched it when I
I've only and because they've had clips in the past, so I only know the clips of the whole show. All right. Moreover, your little ones who
You got a good memory, so I gotta say. Okay.
little ones who you said would become a prey, and your sons who this day have no knowledge of good or evil shall enter there, and I will give it to them, and they shall possess it. Wait a minute. What is this? Who this day have no knowledge of good or evil? Are we? Are we?
A lot of people.
Are we bringing back kind of an idea of innocence? Adam, think about Adam and Chava in the garden. Adam and Mrs. Adam in the garden. Adam and Eve in the garden. Who this day have no knowledge of good or evil. Who this? Okay.
He said the whole world will know. Will have a chance, but
Okay.
you know.
I think that's a direct reference, and so I think it bids us to go, please look this up. Look back at the first
Many are gonna
at the first mention.
bid on it. Okay.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 16. Oh, verse 15. Then Yahweh Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to cultivate it and to keep it. Verse 16, and Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, from any tree of the garden you may freely eat, but, verse 17, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you shall surely die. And so now we have an interesting reference to this. Your little ones, who you said would become prey, and your sons, who this day have no knowledge. Could we insert into this without maybe changing a concept here too much, not changing the word or adding to or deleting from the word of Yah, and say, who this day have no knowledge of the tree of the knowledge of good or evil?
Maybe
because in the state of Adam and Eve at this point in time in the garden, Yahweh's just saying, hey, there's a tree in there I don't want you to eat of, but you can eat of everything else that's in the garden. Until Yahweh mentioned the tree, they didn't even know about the tree.
So
they're in such a place of innocence, and learning and growing and understanding the knowledge and the wisdom of the Most High and this relationship with Him, that they didn't even know that they were to know that there was a place to have knowledge of good and evil. Do you know? Does that? In other words, it's such a place of pure innocence.
So what are you saying? They didn't know that when Yah said don't eat of the tree, they knew.
Yeah, because at the place of, they were at a place of, let me maybe use the word of their immaturity, that they didn't, before verse 16, in Genesis chapter 2, they were given the command to cultivate and keep the garden. So before verse 16, they didn't even recognize that there was this other tree. I mean, even verse 16, from any tree of the garden you may freely eat. Then verse 17 comes along. So what's it saying about, in other words, we have a concept of Yeshua leading Israel into the promised land, that they are in such a place of immaturity that who this day have no knowledge of good or evil. They don't even know that there's a tree that they're not to eat of. But they're following under the leadership of the one who's giving them the commands of how to live. If I lost you? Did I lose you in this idea?
There's a scripture that says,
in other words, when we get into this,
you will know. I mean, even if you don't, forget how it worded it, but what it was saying is everybody will know. It's whether you choose or you know.
I think what's being boiled down to in the terms of the community of Israel is Yahweh saying, I'm going to have you cross the Jordan. Which is a process of life and death, just like they went through the Red Sea. I'm going to take you across the Jordan. I'm going to take you through the waters, and I will be there, and through the fire, through the flame. You'll not fear. You'll not be harmed. I'm going to take you through. But the process of the birthing, we talked about this last week, the process of the birthing of Israel. Israel's been in the womb of the wilderness. Israel is the water breaks, the river Jordan is stopped, the river breaks, the water breaks, the people pass through the birth canal into a new land. In other words, they are starting this. We're talking about an age of innocence. Your little ones who are so innocent, who you said were so vulnerable, this is the generation.
Yep.
The ones that are vulnerable, the ones that are innocent, the ones that are coming through the birth canal and are about to be spit out on the land, birthed into the land, who this day have no knowledge of good and evil. They're fresh, they're innocent, they're immature, they're in a place of that they are about to learn. And I'm going to tell you, and this is what he's saying. Because here's your history, but now I'm going to unfold into you the words of life. Go ahead, Jackie.
Even when they was on the desert and they were, going from place to place to place, there was this man that he was grumpy and he argued all the time. I can't remember his name. But after everything they saw, he was still doubting, the magnificence of Yah. And some of them just didn't get it, even after they'd seen all those miracles. Now, did they have an idea? Yeah. But you wonder, I've always wondered that, how Yah, when they saw this stuff, could they still doubt who you are and what you're doing? It boggles your mind. But deep in the center of their soul, they probably knew there was something that was out of the ordinary they needed to grasp, but they didn't want to grasp it.
Well, it's like Pascal says, inside every one of us is a God-shaped vacuum, and I think that there's something that only y'all can fill, is what he said. There's a God-shaped vacuum only God can fill. I'm using the word God because that's what he said.
They couldn't see, I guess.
Only Yahweh can fill that vacuum, and so we have this place, this position for him to come and dwell and reside. But when they hear the truth, there's something about this wisdom, this knowledge, this life that it resonates, but if it isn't such a cloud that's come from confusion, and where I'm talking bad doctrine, bad teaching, that type of thing, it can't spring forth yet. It's a seed that's going there, but the ground's got to be fertilized. The ground needs to be broken up. It needs some watering. It needs some place for it to go to. And yeah, sometimes some will take a lifetime and it'll never spring forth into seed.
It's like if
It'll never bear fruit. And yet the seed was there, but it all depends on the capacity of one to hunger
I think that
for the truth.
yes, you gotta want it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'd have seen a cloud every day and a pillar of fire, I mean, that would pretty much tell me, hey, something's different here.
Well, isn't that something? Yeah, something supernatural. We need to pay attention. Pay attention. Like, what's this supernatural? There's no fire in the middle of that tabernacle, and yet we see this column of a cloud coming out of the tabernacle every single day.
Yeah.
At night, the whole thing glows. It's bigger than just a menorah.
And like this hadn't gone on before, okay?
Glows. But what would we do? But let me give you another thought. I've been kind of chewing on this. And a lot of the stuff that Mike from Around the World talks about, I have to put on a shelf. A lot of things that Stephen Ben-Nun talks about, I got to put it to the shelf. And yet they brought out a concept that's making me go, because we've talked about light frequencies in the past. Mm-hmm. And what happens, because we live in a world that our eyes pick up only certain frequencies of light. And so we see, like I see leaves on the tree that's outside in front of me right now. And I see in the living room, we got these walls, we have a fireplace behind me, all that sort of stuff. We can see those frequencies. And our ability to see those frequencies is because of the sun. When the sun shines, whether it's cloudy or not, the sun shines and our eyes see different frequencies of the images, causing us to see images in front of us. But what would happen if that spectrum of light that only our eyes are tuned to, what if the spectrum of the light emitting from the sun changes in frequency?
And look at all the stuff going on with the sun right now, solar flares, all that. I mean, get ready. There's some stuff going to happen.
Right. If the frequency of the type of light that's emanating from the sun changes into a different frequency, so there's still light, but the spectrum changes, and because of our relationship on this earth, that we're connected to this earth. What do they call the frequency of the earth? That if you go out there and you stand on dirt, it really is healing to you because of the frequency, the grounding of it. But what is the frequency, the resonance? It's the certain earth resonance. Somebody help me out in the chat.
I don't know either that number.
Schumann resonance. That's it. All of that's connected. The electromagnetic fields around the earth is connected to the Schumann resonance. 7.83 kilohertz. I mean, it's very low. And if the sun frequencies change, these cosmetic flares, this flares coming out of the sun.
Change the sun.
These and they hit the earth, and the resonance and the frequency around the earth changes. The light of the sun changes. What does that do to what our brain picks up and allows our eyes to see? And so what Mike from Around the World has said, and this is why I've been chewing on it, and is that, and I think I talked to somebody, I think about, coronal mass ejection, Eddie and Tam about this earlier this week, that it would cause our ability to see our skin, to actually look at our skin, and that it would be transparent. A freaky. Would people not freak out with that?
Yeah.
But if the imaging changes, our ability to see changes because the spectrum changes, because the electromagnetic field changes, and so now our ability to see changes, And then what about our ability to see other type of dimensions within the world we're living? And so we see other type of beings, the demonic, the supernatural,
I
the
was wondering about
spiritual,
that, yeah.
and all of a sudden our eyes are opened up to see
Angels.
even all of that around us because of the frequency and the shields changing.
Things are changing. Our earth is changing.
That would be, for some people, like, I think it would kill some people. I think it would cause people's hearts to
They
stop.
couldn't handle.
The people who couldn't handle it. Could we handle it?
I know.
Could
that's a
we
good
be able to
question.
see that? And yet, understanding who we are in Messiah, we have to be so grounded in that, because what if it changes? What if it's momentarily? What if it's just an in and out type of thing? As we see, you know, sometimes you see me on the video and I kind of phase if I have a different background, and I'm phasing. What does that do to us?
Have you ever sat somewhere and you see something out of the side of your eye and you're like, oh, not even the side, it could be like across the room. I've done this a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what was that? Did I just see that? And then I think, oh, it's just light coming out, or, you know, you got all sorts of excuses. But what if it's not? What if you're seeing the supernatural, you know?
Yeah. Luann said, for fear of what's coming on the earth, men's hearts shall fail them. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so going back to over to this thing right here, this place of, do you ever consider ourselves, and you know, we may have been studying Torah for decades, and yet we're still in this immature place, an
Why you
immature
gotta have the spirit.
state,
Mm.
and we need, and that even at this point in time, are we at the level of maturity? Because they're entering into the land. This is the, I mean, we're talking about them being birthed in the land. What about us? If there's a second Exodus, which I believe there is, are we about to be birthed to see something that we've never ever seen before? But what everything that we've seen and known before is only because we've been protected in a womb. And now we're about to cross over into a realm that we will see multidimensionally. We will as that we will all of a sudden find ourselves as these innocent, as it says here, your little ones who you said would become prey, and your sons who this day have no knowledge of good or evil. This place of all of a sudden a birth. It's a verse 17 in Genesis 2 chapter 2 verse 17. But from the knowledge of the, now all of a sudden the tree is introduced. There's something that's been added. Are you going to bite and die? Or all of a sudden the expansion of knowledge, the expansion of something that our minds are blown because of this new dimensional reality to live in, the things that we studied out and we've had concepts of it by studying Torah.
I mean, have you ever asked yourself, why didn't he want us to eat from one of the trees? See, that it could be he wasn't ready for us to see what we, you
But
know.
it was also a test. He had to give them something.
True. But I mean, there is a small possibility, maybe.
And
I mean, he didn't want to see not the knowledge. He didn't want them to see and everything he knew.
so in one sense, we've had a crossing, like
And
the
there's a
red,
reason.
like we've had the Red Sea crossing. We've had the Devarim crossing, the Ivri crossing. We've stepped into this, and yet all we did was come into a holding tank. All we did is come into a womb. All we've done is come to the edge, to the brink, and yet what is about to take place is a veil to be removed from our eyes.
Because
And we thought we had the veil removed because as we mature and we're growing in the gestation period, our eyes are being formed, our ears are being formed, our heartbeat is being formed. All of these things we have fingernails and toes and that are forming, and yet it's all for the process that we can be viable.
Yeah.
After we come out of the birth canal.
Because the tree of knowledge was a tree of knowledge. And maybe he didn't want them getting into that tree because, well, he knew they'd know things, but we couldn't handle it. I mean, we can't handle his head knowledge. We're not there. Okay.
So, and yet when it happens, because there's a certain point in time on the calendar,
Yes, it
this will happen,
Yes.
and we will be birthed
Yes.
into this new place that will be a journey to the land. It'll be a journey across the Jordan. It'll be a journey to be able to come to that place to inhabit the land.
Awesome.
And so there may be people onboarding right now, more people coming into the womb. Why? Because people are coming into salvation. They're coming into the knowledge of Yeshua. But at some point in time, the entirety of Israel will be born.
Yes.
The entirety of the community will cross over. The entirety of the community will be set apart and sequestered into a place in the wilderness. I don't have we talk about it, but do we really have a grid for that? And then do we really have a grid to what has been mentioned here in Luke? I believe it's Luke 21. Do we have even the preparation that where people's hearts fail them for fear of those things that are coming upon the earth? Or will we have the strength of heart to endure such a thing? And where I recall where David says, the joy of Yahweh is my strength. Mm-hmm. So no matter what's going on around me, this is the thing that will keep me. Because I'll tell you, how many times do we have obstacles, things that don't go our way, things we don't like, and what's it do? It robs us of joy. So joy is not our strength. We've not matured in joy. We can be joyful when things are easy. Yes. We can be joyful when it's like, okay, it's Shabbat and I'm shutting down the rest of the world, and it's Shabbat and the joy of the Lord is my strength. But what happens when day one hits?
And that's why the more tribulations you go through, the better off you're going to be, because you have warred this one, that one, that one, that one on down the road. And so when the big one hits, you may be able to handle it. Okay. But if you're sitting in front of your TV, never going for the Lord, you're in for troubles. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, so moreover, your little ones. Maybe we should look at your little ones. Does that have something to do? You said we can pray moreover your little ones. Top. The word is top. Toph. It's a pei fei, so it's in the fei sound.
What did Yeshua say? Be like the little ones, and you will inherit.
Yeah, it's the children who.
So you know what are they? They're innocent and they're like grasping for things. It's the same with him. You know, you're innocent enough that you don't let everything come in and sway you another way. And to be in him is to be innocent in a way.
Yeah. So
you want to know it all. You want to, of him. You're curious. You know how they say kids learn stuff at a young age when they can learn languages and stuff. The younger
they absorb everything.
Well, it's along the lines of that.
Everything. Yeah. The root of taf. So the word is for little ones. The root is tafaf. The idea is taking quick little steps, even like little short steps, like what a little child would do, like Alora does. That she takes these quick little steps. I'm telling you, from one moment she's over in that room over there, and the next moment she's over in this room, and like, where did she go? She taking the toilet paper roll holder off the wall and trying to put it in the toilet. Yeah, in totally another room. At least she hasn't dropped the toilet roll in the toilet.
She wants to know how it works.
But it gives an idea of maybe, but she also trips, taking quick little steps, the light brisk steps, but it also is like the little tapping of steps. So your little ones who you said become, in other words, it gives that a whole idea of these toddlers that don't even know, is this right to do? Is taking the toilet paper roll off the wall and then putting it in the toilet. Is that right or wrong?
Oh, she knew the toilet.
She does. She's becoming more and more familiar with the word no.
She knows what no means, but she'll look at you sometimes.
Like, do you mean it?
She's testing you.
I'm gonna do what I want.
Do you mean it?
It's much more fun to play with the toilet than to be doing what I'm supposed to.
Yeah. And we're not talking about the toilet paper roll. It is the toilet paper holder of the roll.
Took it off the wall, along with every knob. Every
We're losing knobs in the house. We're losing knobs.
Oh dear.
And yeah. So I want us to, why am I saying all this? As mature that we think that we might be, is Yahweh, when he's looking at us, this is how he's looking at us, in such a state of innocence that we are not quite even ready, though we think we really have the full knowledge of it. We're not quite ready to even be introduced to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because what is it that perhaps Eve was, what type of vision did the serpent give Eve of that tree that caused her to have not a divine vision of I'm staying away from that, but an evil vision? And when I say evil vision, a lot of times we think of, oh, that's just but an evil vision can be very beautiful, enticing.
Yes, that's what I was
saying. And what is it that at this point in time, she just stayed away from that tree, but now all of a sudden she finds herself presented in the tree with a serpent before her saying, I want you to see.
He was crafty.
I want you to see. And what is it that people will see? Are we going to see and then lose the strength of the heart, or to be able to stand when all these things are happening? I think so. If we think that we have a certain amount of maturity, that perhaps it's only because that there's this infusion of the strength of our heart that causes us to be able to endure what we are about to see, and that he's allowing us to see, because those that are not having that place of mature, I'm not saying maturity, but the strength of the heart, because all of a sudden we are going to be moved into a position. Here's the tree that you've been battling all your life. You've known about it, you had a concept about it, but now here's 100% of it. You've just seen like not even 1/10 of 1% of what this tree of the knowledge of good and evil is. And I just wonder if this is like this process of like, I'm preparing you now with these words, this in Devarim, these words, because as you chew on them now, as you eat on them now, as you ingest them, they're going to cause you to be strong in spirit.
Yes.
And it is the preparation. Though in this Torah, we told you what is the protocols of holiness, of what's clean and what's not clean, the things that we are to engage with and what we're not to be engaged with, and how we're to live this out, the protocol of coming in to the presence of the King, and how to live and to stay in the presence of the King, and all of that. The reality of that function, where we think, oh, I'm getting a handle of it, and do we really? And it takes a full lifetime, and yet we come to the brink, we come to that door, and the Jordan is about to be pulled back, and all of a sudden the veil.
Well, I think we
pulled back.
We stop our progress too, in how far we go, by our sins, by distractions, by And the longer you're with him, the more you know how to take control of that and say, no. But yeah, our own, we kind of, in a way, set up our timing. Okay. And if you're not constantly going after him, you're distracted.
Yeah. And I think we've had layers of the veil removed
Yes.
that has allowed us to see in this gestation period. But as the fullness of the water breaks and we are forced out of this womb where we've been living in, dwelling, it's like some people are like, well, I must be the bottom of the person's foot because, and I keep that baby's foot that keeps kicking the wall of mama, and I'm on the bottom, I'm those bottom cells, and I'm keep getting booted. Well, you think about two twins in the mama's womb, someone's always getting punched, someone's always getting kicked, someone's always getting hugged. No, but yeah, I know life is not easy, and we all experience those places of discomfort, great pain. Think about a baby growing within a.
But the glory that's on the journey too. When when his presence comes in, or he gives you head knowledge to, like, this is what I've been trying to show you. I mean, it's worth it.
So Tammy, Jackie, you said something as well earlier, and it had that. Do you ever catch something like something moves out of the corner of your eye and you look and there's nothing there?
Mm-hmm.
I get that all the time. I'm telling you, like this morning, sitting at my desk, I'm telling you, there are like 3 times I'm like, what was that?
Yep. And that's going to happen.
Is that part of the veil?
Yeah, it's going to start happening more. Okay.
Is that part of the veil that's opening up? Is that part of, because that which is simply been in another dimension, and we call it the spirit dimension, is now our eyes picking up those things in the natural because the veil is becoming thinner and thinner.
I've even told the Lord, bring it. Whatever you want to bring to me in the supernatural, bring it.
Tammy reminds us that that's how Rebecca Sterling's vision began, in glimpses. And so without going into any other, really, to dig out anything else, and I end up getting just lodged in those different verses. And for some people that are with us, at least I didn't get lodged in chapter 1, verse 1, and just get stuck there.
It's only because you didn't start there. Got stuck in like 2 verses.
Maybe that's where we're supposed to be today. And
well, rabbit trails are sometimes a knowledge, okay? They just are.
Well, and it served a purpose. I think when we talked about these different things, it was served a purpose.
You're preparing the way for people to wake up. So wake up, man. There's something beside you and your little self. Okay, there's bigger things.
So I think there's a certain amount of preparation that this allows us to do, in terms of we're living in very significant times, very important times.
Yes.
I believe that we are that generation that's been called to live through all that.
Like our grandparents couldn't even comprehend, but with all the knowledge and everything he's doing, and scientific and all this other stuff, and the world system, and then the things of the world going on. I mean, you can grasp it. You can grasp it now. 100 years ago they couldn't.
Yeah. And all the different times we studied this Torah portion in the past, it wasn't time to talk about some of these things. But today it seems like it was. And
of course, I don't know. Look at Telsa and, what's his face that did electricity. That was thinking outside the box,
Yeah, Tesla and Einstein and all
them. They were doing all sorts of experiments and new things. And so they weren't afraid to step out. You got to step out.
And it was a huge leap forward for humanity at those point in times. And So, okay.
And is God bigger than that? Is he the supernatural? Is he the one that can show you things you never imagined? You betcha he is.
Yeah. So, well, some interesting thoughts today. I didn't mean to. I mean, I think those are very relevant.
I
You know,
think
if you're
they're
like, well,
important,
you know,
yes.
go into all this other. If you want to study out other things in the Torah portion, you can study out other Torah portion.
It's all important.
It's all connecting to
Yes.
a lot of different things. But I hope that maybe there's some things that we've let some thoughts and ideas to chew on and to think about, because here's the other thing that's taking place. So much of our current events is blending so closely to the scriptures that we can't mention one without the other being, you know, the example of the life we're living and the place in history where we're living and all of that as well. And yet I don't have a grid for some of those ideas of the frequency of light changing, that our eyes change, that because of electromagnetic frequencies changing, so that which our brain actually picks up and we see with our physical eyes actually are dimensions that have been withheld from us from seeing, and that perhaps we will see through to in other dimensions as and maybe there'll be flashes, maybe they're just flashes in and out, but to many, I think, even myself, I think that would be very disturbing. And yet, if we don't talk about it, how will we even grasp it when the time comes? If there were to come, maybe it's something just to put on the shelf and say, oh, whatever.
It's coming now, whether it's in our lifetime, but I very well think it could be any day now.
Yeah.
Things we're going to see.
Yeah. Just be prepared, be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on the receiving end of many of these prophecies, whether it's Henry Gruber and Dmitri Duduman, or those that are scripturally that have given to us, that we've had with us, and yet we've not understood those things because they've been held up for understanding to the time of the end, like we're living now. Oh, what an amazing,
Exciting life.
it's an amazing day.
Yes.
Make it spectacular.
And he reveals these things in Torah.
And so let's close in prayer. Before we do that, just say, join us. We have the stream set up for 3 o'clock for our encounter service. It's going to start out praise, worship, ministry as Yahweh leads us, and a second stream set up for the message as Yahweh leads us. But we sure appreciate y'all being part of this. And if you can't make it, pick it up on the in the archives at Life of Worship Amarillo YouTube channel. Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel. Let's get that right. And you can see on our screen where you can give online, support our ministry. Check out our website at www.lifeofworshipamarillo.org, and just pray and see what the Father would have you do. That certainly helps us with even ministry costs right now, as we're trying to build up some type of savings for a provision of our own place, or however it works out. And you all are part of that, and
yes,
we appreciate that very, very much. Okay, Jackie, will you close us in prayer?
Thank you for today, Father. Thank you for the knowledge you did give us today. Thank you that you are so wonderful and so merciful and so with us. And we just love everything you teach us, Father, and show us and excite us about in the coming days. And thank you for Pastor John and Sandi and for their ministry. And Father, thank you that you are just going to be with us all the time. And that's our hope, that's our faith, and it's true. And I bless you, and I bless the people that are listening, and thank them for tuning in with Pastor John and Sandi, and just excited for you, Father. Amen.
Amen.